The transport ship shuddered as it entered the atmosphere of Zeta 9, a remote planet on the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. Alex Morgan gripped the metal bench beneath him, his knuckles turning white. His stomach lurched with each bump and rattle. Of the aging spacecraft across from him sat two blue-skinned guards with 4 arms each. Their yellow eyes watched him without blinking their faces, showing no emotion. Alex had been told they were Viridians, a species known for their strength and lack of humor. Perfect for prison guard duty. This trip was the final leg of a journey that began 3 weeks ago when the Galactic Council found him guilty of trespassing in a restricted zone. The sentence was 1 year in a correctional facility. The judge, a tall, spindly alien with translucent skin, had seemed almost apologetic, due to overcrowding in human facilities. You will serve your time in the Viridian Rehabilitation Center on Zeta 9. The judge had said. What the judge failed to mention was that the Viridian Rehabilitation Center was exclusively for female prisoners. Alex only discovered this detail during processing when the bewildered intake officer, a purple-skinned woman with ridged forehead, stared at his paperwork in confusion. There must be a mistake. She had said her universal translator, making her voice sound flat and mechanical. No mistake, came the reply from his escort. The human will serve his time here as ordered by the Galactic Council. Special diplomatic arrangement. The ship gave one final lurch before settling onto what Alex assumed was the landing pad. The door hissed open, revealing a barren landscape of red rock and distant purple mountains. The air that rushed in was thin and smelled faintly of sulfur. Move. Human. One of the guards ordered, prodding him with something that felt like a stick, but looked more like a living tentacle. Alex stumbled down the ramp, his legs stiff from the long journey. He squinted against the harsh light of twin suns overhead. The prison complex sprawled before him, a series of low-gray buildings surrounded by a shimmering force field, rather than physical walls. The main building loomed ahead, its entrance marked by a series of alien symbols. Alex couldn't read. He was marched through sliding doors into a sterile white reception area. 3 female Viridians looked up from their workstations, their eyes widening at the sight of him. The tallest of the 3 approached, her blue skin darker than the others, possibly indicating age or rank. This is the human prisoner. She asked, her yellow eyes examining Alex with undisguised curiosity. Correct transfer from Earth Station 7. 1-year sentence for zone trespassing. The tall Viridian circled Alex, studying him from all angles. Her 4 arms were in constant motion, tapping information into a handheld device, checking his restraints, adjusting her uniform. We have never housed a human male before, she said finally. The council assured us humans are compatible with our facility. Conditions. Alex wanted to point out that compatible was probably an overstatement, but kept quiet. He had learned that speaking without being spoken to usually resulted in extended detention periods. Follow processing protocols, the guard said, handing over a data chip. Alex was led through a series of corridors, each identical to the last, with smooth gray walls and harsh overhead lighting. Eventually, they reached a room marked with red symbols. Decontamination, the Viridian explained. Strip. Alex hesitated. Your garments may contain earth contaminants. They must be sanitized. You will receive facility clothing with reluctance. Alex removed his jumpsuit and undergarments. The Viridian showed no reaction to his nakedness. Her clinical gaze suggested she viewed him as she might view any new specimen, a curiosity, nothing more. A beam of purple light scanned his body from head to toe, followed by a fine mist that made his skin tingle. Medical scan complete. No significant pathogens detected. Mild vitamin deficiencies. Noted. Prescription assigned to meal plan. A bundle of gray fabric was thrust into his arms. Get dressed. The prison uniform consisted of a simple tunic and pants made from a material that felt like cotton, but seemed to adjust to his body temperature. It fit surprisingly well. The tall Viridian, who had introduced herself as Warden Nara, led him to another room. This one contained various screens and scanning equipment. Orientation, she announced. Before joining the general population, you must understand our rules. For the next hour, Alex watched instructional videos about the facility. Most showed female Viridians demonstrating proper behavior, meal protocols, work assignments, and recreation periods. The information was overwhelming. But one thing was clear: any rule violation resulted in isolation. The videos showed isolation cells, bare rooms with nothing but a floor pad. After orientation, Warden Nara escorted him personally through the facility. "Unusual to have a human here," she commented as they walked. "More unusual to have a male. The council believes your presence will provide cultural exchange benefits." Alex doubted cultural exchange was the real reason. He had overheard enough during his trial to suspect he was part of a diplomatic experiment. The humans and Viridians had recently signed new trade agreements. This was likely a show of cooperation. They passed through a large open area where dozens of female prisoners were gathered. Some were blue like the Viridians, others were green-purple. Or colors Alex had no words for. All were female as far as he could tell, though. With some species it was hard to be certain. The talking stopped as they entered. Every eye turned toward Alex. "The prisoners come from 12 different species." "Warden," Nara explained, "most understand the common trade language. You will find several who speak Earth English." The staring was intense. Some prisoners looked curious, others suspicious. A few seemed amused. Alex felt like an exhibit in an alien zoo. Meals are served 3 times daily according to Earth Standard Timing. Work assignments begin tomorrow. You will be placed in textile production with Supervisor Lyra. They continued their tour, passing workout areas, meditation rooms, and what appeared to be classrooms. The facility was more like a campus than the prisons Alex had seen in movies. "Your cell warden," Nara announced, finally stopping at a small room near the end of a long corridor. The room contained a sleeping platform, a sanitation unit, and a small desk with a screen. It was simple but clean and private, which surprised Alex. He had expected to share space for your safety. "You have been assigned private quarters. The door will lock during sleep cycles, but remain open during day periods. You are free to move within your assigned zones during open hours." She handed him a thin bracelet that glowed with soft blue light. "This tracker indicates your clearance levels. Green zones are permitted. Yellow requires escort. Red is forbidden. Any attempt to enter restricted areas will result in isolation." After Warden Nara left, Alex sat on the edge of the sleeping platform, trying to process his situation. He was alone on an alien planet surrounded by female prisoners from across the galaxy, with no human contact for the next year. The realization was just sinking in when a chime sounded. "Meal period," the overhead speaker announced in multiple languages. Alex followed other prisoners moving toward what he assumed was the dining hall. The corridor opened into a large room with dozens of tables. The serving area offered various food options, most unrecognizable to him. He selected items that looked least likely to poison him and searched for an empty table. The room had grown quiet again as he entered, and he could feel eyes tracking his movement. An empty table near the back wall seemed safest. He sat down and examined his meal. Something purple and gelatinous next to what might be grain. The smell was not unpleasant, just unfamiliar. "Mind if we join you?" Alex looked up to see 3 prisoners standing by his table. One was Viridian with light blue skin, another had green scales instead of skin, the third was almost human-looking, except for her solid black eyes. Alex gestured to the empty seats, uncertain of proper protocol. The Viridian sat directly across from him. "Imkira," she said in accented but clear English. "This is Vex and Talia." She pointed to the scaled one and then the human-looking one respectively. Alex introduced himself, his voice sounding strange after hours of silence. "First human in our facility," Kira said. "Everyone is curious about your species, about why you're here. Just serving my sentence," Alex replied, focusing on his food, which tasted better than it looked. Talia leaned forward, her black eyes reflecting the overhead lights. "We don't get many males here," she said. And never a human male. Vex made a series of clicking sounds that the translator converted to, "Why were you sent here? Specifically?" Alex shrugged. "The judge said overcrowding. But I think it's political. Some kind of exchange program." The 3 exchanged looks. "Be careful," Talia said quietly. "The warden may call this cultural exchange, but to many here, you're either a curiosity or a threat. And some prisoners have not seen males of any species in many cycles." Before Alex could respond, a commotion erupted across the room. 2 prisoners were arguing, their voices rising. A guard moved toward them, but not before one prisoner shoved the other. The dining hall fell silent as Warden Nara appeared seemingly from nowhere. Her forearms crossed in front of her, prisoners Dara and Shen. Isolation 3 cycles, she announced. The two were escorted out without protest. Discipline is valued here, Kira explained. We learn to control emotions. Our rehabilitation focuses on harmony. The rest of the meal passed with Kira, Vex, and Talia explaining prison routines. They seemed friendly enough, but Alex remained cautious. He had no idea of the cultural norms or hidden dangers after. The meal atone signaled the end of the period. Alex was directed to his cell for the night cycle. As promised, the door slid shut behind him. Alex woke to the sound of a gentle chime. His cell door slid open, automatically revealing the corridor beyond, already busy with prisoners heading to morning meal. Several slowed as they passed his doorway, their curious gazes lingering. Morning cycle. Prisoner Morgan. A voice announced from an unseen speaker. Time for nutrition and work assignment. Alex rose quickly, washing in the small sanitation unit. The water had a faint metallic taste, but was otherwise normal. The prison uniform left beside. His bed during the night was identical to the one he had worn yesterday, except for a small symbol on the shoulder, a circle with a line through it. He assumed this marked him as a new prisoner. In the dining hall, he selected food that looked similar to what he had eaten the day before, avoiding the items that were still moving on the serving trays. He spotted Kira and her friends at the same table as yesterday, and after a moment's hesitation joined them. Sleep well, human? Talia asked her, black eyes revealing no emotion. Well enough, Alex replied. I don't suppose there's anything like coffee here. The translator must have struggled with the word coffee because all three aliens tilted their heads in the same confused manner. Earth stimulant drink. Alex explained, bitter but energizing. Vex made a series of clicks and hisses. Energy supplements are available but reserved for labor-intensive assignments. You are in textiles. Not considered strenuous, Kira pushed a cup of blue liquid toward him. This helps with alertness. Not like your coffee, but similar effect. Alex sipped cautiously, finding the taste similar to mint tea with an aftertaste of something like cinnamon. His fatigue seemed to fade almost immediately. The speaker system announced work. Assignments and prisoners began filing out in different directions. Alex followed the signs to Textile Division, where a tall Viridian with unusually pale blue skin waited. You are Morgan, she stated. Not asked. I am Supervisor Lyra. You will learn fabric. Production today. The textile room was large and bright, filled with machines that looked like advanced looms. Various prisoners worked at stations, some using all 4 arms to manipulate controls, while others guided fabric through rollers. The materials being produced ranged from practical-looking gray cloth like his uniform to shimmering fabrics that seemed to change color as they moved. Lyra led him to an empty station. You will begin with basic weaving, she explained. Your 2 arms limit you to simple patterns. She demonstrated the controls, which were surprisingly intuitive. Despite having only 2 arms, Alex found he could operate the machine without much difficulty. The work was not challenging but required enough concentration to make the time pass quickly. Other prisoners in the textile division kept their distance, though he frequently caught them watching him. Some whispered to each other while others made no attempt to hide their interest. One prisoner with features like a feline and golden fur approached his station during a break period. So you are the human male, she said, her translator making her purring voice sound strangely robotic. I am Zara. We have heard stories of Earth but never met a human. Alex nodded politely. Is this your regular work assignment? Zara flicked her tail. No. I am usually in hydroponics growing food, but I arranged a temporary transfer. She leaned closer, her golden eyes examining him intensely. Is it true humans mate for pleasure, not just reproduction? Alex nearly choked on his water. I don't think that's appropriate conversation. Zara seemed amused by his reaction. Interesting. Your face coloring changed. The Viridians said humans show emotions physically. She moved even closer. Almost like Felinar, except without fur. Before Alex could respond, Supervisor Lyra appeared beside them. Prisoner Zara, return to your station. Unauthorized transfers to Textile Division are prohibited. Zara backed away, but not before giving Alex what he could only interpret as a wink. Such interactions will be common, Lyra said after Zara left. You are the first human male many have seen. Some species are naturally curious. Others may have different motivations. Report any uncomfortable situations. The rest of the work period passed without incident. Alex found a rhythm with the textile machine producing what Lyra deemed acceptable quality fabric. By the end of the shift, his arms ached from the unfamiliar movement, but he felt a small sense of accomplishment. During the afternoon meal, he was approached by a new group of prisoners. These were not Viridians, but a species he hadn't seen before with iridescent skin and elongated fingers. They spoke among themselves in a musical language that the translator didn't convert. We observe you eating, one asked finally in broken trade language. Alex considered refusing, but decided against it. If he was going to survive a year here, he needed to establish some kind of rapport with the other prisoners. Just eating, he said, gesturing to the empty seats. The group sat watching his every movement with fascination. They whispered among themselves when he used his eating utensils and seemed particularly interested in how he chewed. You are very similar to Bricari, one commented, except for your coloring and lack of secondary breathing. Apparatus Alex wasn't sure how to respond to that comparison, having no idea what Bricari looked like. Another prisoner asked if she could touch his hair, a request he politely declined. After the meal came recreation period. Alex was directed to a large open area where various activities were taking place. Some prisoners were engaged in what appeared to be yoga, while others used exercise equipment modified for their different physiologies. Few were reading or playing games that involved moving colored stones on floating platforms. Not knowing what else to do, Alex headed toward the exercise area. A group of Viridians were lifting weights that looked impossibly heavy. They paused there, routine as he approached. Human join us, one called. Her muscles were more defined than other Viridians he had seen him nix. We could use some variety in training. Alex hesitated, knowing he could never match their four-armed strength routines. We can adjust the gravity controls for you, Nix offered. Our weight training is based on resistance, not fixed. Mass Alex agreed and soon found himself in a modified gravity field that made the weights manageable. The exercise felt good after days of space travel and confinement. The Viridian seemed impressed by his form, if not by the amount he could lift. You have good muscle structure for a two-armed species, one commented. This is from natural development or artificial enhancement, just regular workouts, Alex explained. Though not much opportunity lately, their training session drew attention from other prisoners. Some came to watch while others found excuses to exercise nearby. Alex became aware of a subtle competition developing among some of the prisoners to engage him in conversation. After recreation came an education period. Alex was surprised to learn that rehabilitation included classes in everything from science to art to conflict resolution. He was assigned to a cultural studies group, led by a stern-looking prisoner with gray skin and 7 fingers on each hand. I am educator Mila. She introduced herself. You will share information about Earth culture while learning about Galactic Council member species. The class consisted of 12 prisoners from various species. Mila had them sit in a circle and take turns describing aspects of their homeworlds. Alex found himself fascinated by the descriptions of planets with 3 suns, or underwater civilizations, or floating cities in gas giants. The universe was far more diverse than he had imagined. When his turn came, Alex described Earth as best he could. The seasonal changes, the variety of ecosystems, the complex history of human development. He omitted the less flattering aspects of human history but tried to give an honest overview. The other prisoners asked questions about Earth technology, Earth mating customs, Earth food, and dozens of other topics. Alex answered as completely as he could, aware that he had become an unofficial ambassador for his species. After education period came evening meal. This time Alex found himself invited to sit with a group of administrative workers, prisoners, who had earned positions helping run the facility. They were more reserved than the Others he had met asking practical questions about human dietary needs and temperature preferences. "Do you require special accommodations?" one asked. Her skin was pale green with delicate patterns that shifted as she spoke. "I don't think so," Alex replied. "The cell is comfortable enough. The food is strange but edible." The administrator nodded, making notes on a small device. "The warden wants to ensure your basic needs are met. Your presence here is significant. A test case for future exchanges." Alex was beginning to understand his situation. He was a diplomatic experiment. The success or failure of his integration would determine whether other humans might serve sentences in alien facilities, and perhaps whether aliens might serve time in Earth prisons. Evening free period followed the meal. Most prisoners returned to their cells or gathered in small groups in the common areas. Alex was headed to his cell when he noticed Talia, the human-looking prisoner with black eyes, signaling to him. From a quiet corner, he approached cautiously, aware that he still knew very little about the social dynamics of the prison. "Be careful," she said, when he reached her. "Some find your presence here threatening." "What do you mean?" Alex asked. Talia glanced around, before continuing. "The warden presents this as cultural exchange, but there are political factions even in prison. The Carsians believe humans are expanding too quickly in the galaxy. They see your placement here as further evidence of human influence. You should avoid the eastern recreation area they gather there." Alex woke before the morning chime, his body tense and alert. He had slept fitfully, dreaming of shadowy figures and whispered threats. Talia's warning echoed in his mind. Today would be difficult. The council members were leaving, but the politics remained. Performed his morning routine with extra care, observing every detail of his surroundings. The corridor seemed normal, with prisoners moving toward the dining hall in their usual manner. But there was a subtle difference. An undercurrent of anticipation. The glances directed his way held new meaning in the dining hall. Alex hesitated, scanning the room for potential threats. He spotted Kira at their usual table. Her posture seemed relaxed, but her eyes tracked his movement with unusual intensity beside. Her neck sat straighter than normal, her muscular forearms positioned for quick movement. Across the room, a group of prisoners Alex recognized as Carsians watched him. Their scaled skin gleamed under the lights, their elongated heads tilted in conversation. He had never interacted with them directly, heeding Talia's earlier warning to avoid the eastern recreation area where they gathered. Alex selected his food and approached Kira's table. The conversation stopped as he sat down. "Sleep well, human?" Nix asked, her voice carefully neutral. "Fine," Alex lied, maintaining a calm expression. "Has the council left?" Kira nodded. "This morning early. Their inspection is complete. Their report will influence human-alien relations for cycles to come. You have become important, without intending to," Nix added. "Many watch what happens to you now." Alex took a bite of his breakfast, keeping his voice casual. "Anyone in particular I should worry about?" Kira and Nix exchanged glances. "The Carsians believe humans are a threat to galactic stability," Kira said quietly. "Your success here undermines their position." Alex noticed Zara approaching their table, her feline grace more pronounced than usual. She sat beside him, closer than necessary, her fur brushing against his arm. "The council was impressed with you, human," she purred. "The guards say your case will be referenced in new treaties." Alex maintained his neutral expression, wondering if Zara was reporting to the administrators as Talia had suggested. Her sudden interest in council politics seemed suspicious. The morning announcements began with Warden Nara's voice listing work assignments and facility updates. The routine was comforting in its predictability. "Prisoner Morgan will report to Hydroponics Division today." The warden concluded special project assignment. Alex looked up in surprise. He had been in textiles since arrival. The sudden change felt ominous, especially after Talia's warning special project. Zara asked, her tail twitching with interest. How fortunate. Kira frowned, slightly. Such changes are unusual. She observed Alex finished his meal quickly and followed the directional signs to hydroponics. He had seen the area during his initial tour but never worked there. The hydroponics bay was a massive chamber filled with plants from across the galaxy. growing in nutrient solutions rather than soil. They formed a strange alien garden of colorful vegetation and bizarre fruits. A Karsian supervisor waited at the entrance. Her scaled skin was darker than the others. He had seen with intricate patterns that might indicate rank or age human. She said, the translator making her voice sound deeper than most I am. Supervisor Solara, you will assist with harvesting today? Alex nodded, maintaining a respectful distance. The sudden assignment to a Karsian supervisor couldn't be coincidence. Solara led him through rows of plants explaining the harvesting process for different species. Some required gentle touch, others needed firm pressure. Some could only be handled with protective gloves. The work seemed simple enough, but the location isolated him from his usual contacts. As they worked, other Karsian prisoners moved through nearby rows. Their elongated heads turned toward him frequently, their multifaceted eyes reflecting the grow lights. When Alex approached certain plants, Solara stopped him. Not those, she said. The Trilopian plants are toxic to humans. Skin contact causes paralysis. Alex stepped back, wondering if this warning was genuine, or if she had other reasons for keeping him away from those particular plants. The morning passed slowly, with Alex carefully harvesting purple fruits that reminded him of eggplants. Each time he filled a container, Solara would inspect his work before sending him to a different section, always deeper into the hydroponics bay, always further from the main entrance. By midday, Alex realized he had not seen any non-Karsian prisoners for at least an hour. The hydroponics bay was enormous, with sections separated by dense plant growth. He had lost track of the exit, could no longer hear the facility announcements. Meal period, Solara announced finally. We break here. Here? Alex asked, looking around. The dining hall must be too far to return. Solara interrupted. We have nutrition supplements in the storage unit. She led him to a small room off the main growing area. Inside were containers of liquid and packets of what looked like dried food. The room had no windows and only one door, the perfect place for an ambush. I should report to the dining hall, Alex said, keeping his voice casual. The warden expects all prisoners to follow. Routine. Solara tilted her head, her multifaceted eyes catching the light. Many routines changed today, human. She gestured to the supplements. Make your selection. Alex hesitated, calculating his options. The storage room felt like a trap, but refusing might provoke whatever the Karsians had planned. He selected a liquid container and a food packet remaining near the doorway. As he ate, Solara watched him with uncomfortable intensity. The supplement tasted bitter but not unpleasant. The council believes humans are ready for full integration, she said suddenly. Their representative, the ethereal, supports Earth membership. Your success here supports their position. Alex nodded non-committally. The shifter disagrees. Solara continued. Their faction believes humans expand too quickly, claim too much, destroy too easily. Politics, Alex said, echoing his comment from the day before. Solara made a sound like stones sliding together. The translator rendered it as laughter. Not just politics, survival. Some species fear extinction if humans continue unchecked. She moved closer, her scaled skin reflecting green and blue in the artificial light. You are one human, in one prison. Your treatment here seems minor compared to the fate of entire species. Alex maintained his neutral expression. Does the warden know about Karsian concerns? Solara stepped back. The warden serves the council. The council is divided. We serve our species. The implications were clear. The Karsians had their own agenda, one that might not align with official prison policy. Before Alex could respond, a chime sounded from Solara's communication device. Return to harvesting, she instructed. We have quotas to meet. The afternoon continued with Alex moving deeper into the hydroponics bay. He maintained mental maps, tracking turns and intersections, calculating routes back to the main entrance. Each time he completed a section, Solara would direct him to another, always further from his starting point. As the day progressed, he noticed more Karsians appearing among the plants. Their movements seemed coordinated, positioning themselves between him and potential exits. They maintained distance, but their presence was unmistakable. Alex was considering his options when a familiar voice called his name. Nyx appeared at the end of a row of tall blue plants, her viridian form a welcome sight. "The warden sent me," she explained, to Solara. "You are needed in textiles. The hydroponics project is suspended." Solara hissed something the translator didn't catch. "Temporary assignment only," she replied. "The human remains here." Nyx stood taller, her forearms flexing slightly. Warden Nara insisted return to textiles prisoner Morgan. Now the tension between them was palpable. Alex moved cautiously toward Nyx, noting the positions of the Karzians among the plants. Something was definitely happening as they left the hydroponics bay. Alex exhaled slowly. "What was that about?" he asked. Keeping his voice low, Trouble Nyx replied, guiding him through corridors at a pace just short of running. "Talia warned us. The Karzians plan to isolate you, create an incident." "What kind of incident?" Nyx glanced around before answering. "The kind that would prove humans cannot safely integrate, that the experiment has failed, instead of heading to textiles." Nyx led him to the warden's office. Kira waited outside along with Talia and several guards. The atmosphere was tense with security personnel moving through corridors in greater numbers than usual. The warden gestured for him to enter her office, her forearms arranged in a formal posture. "Sit, Morgan," she instructed. Alex obeyed. Noting Inspector Chen was also present via video link. Her image projected on the wall. "We have uncovered a situation," the warden began. "Several Karzian prisoners plan to create an incident using you as focus. The details are still emerging, but the intent was clear: to demonstrate humans cannot safely integrate into non-human facilities." Alex thought of the isolated hydroponics bay, the increasing Karzian presence the way Solara had guided him away from exits. "What happens now?" he asked. Inspector Chen spoke from the screen. "You will be temporarily relocated to a secure section. The diplomatic implications are significant. We must ensure your safety while maintaining the integrity of the experiment." Relocation. The warden continued means isolation until this matter resolves. You will have no contact with general population. Your routine will continue in private quarters. Alex understood the subtext. He was being placed in protective custody, away from other prisoners, away from potential threats, but also away from allies like Kira and Nyx. 2 weeks passed with Alex settling into the prison routine. Each day brought new discoveries about the facility and its inhabitants. He learned to recognize different species to understand their basic customs and to navigate the complex social hierarchy that existed despite the warden's insistence on equality. His work in the textile division had improved to the point where Supervisor Lyra assigned him more complex patterns. The repetitive nature of the work gave him time to think, to plan. To observe the other prisoners had grown somewhat accustomed to his presence. Though he still received curious stares, the constant questioning had decreased. During morning meal, Alex sat with Kira and her friends, who had become something like allies. Their table had expanded to include Nyx the Viridian weight trainer, and occasionally Zara the feline prisoner, who had been reassigned to textiles permanently. Much to Alex's discomfort. "You look tired today, human," Kira remarked, passing him a cup of the blue stimulant drink he had come to rely on. "Not sleeping well." Alex shrugged, trying to keep his face neutral as Talia had advised. The truth was he had been having strange dreams. Dreams of home mixed with alien landscapes, familiar faces morphing into Viridian features. Voices speaking in languages he couldn't understand, just adjusting to the light cycle, he said. "The twin suns make for short nights." Zara purred something the translator didn't catch before adding, "I could help you sleep better." Kira shot her a warning look which Zara ignored. Her tail swished with amusement. The morning announcements interrupted any further conversation. The speakers crackled with Warden Nara's voice. "Attention all prisoners. Today begins the Galactic Council inspection. 3 representatives will tour our facility. Behavior will be exemplary. Prisoner Morgan, report to administration immediately." Alex felt all eyes turned to him. "What did you do?" Talia asked, her black eyes revealing nothing. Nothing that I know of, Alex replied, rising from the table. Kira looked concerned. Council inspections are rare. They must want to evaluate you specifically. Alex made his way to the administration section, escorted by a guard he had not seen before. This one had darker blue skin and moved with military precision. The administrative area was cleaner and more formal than the rest of the facility, with actual furniture, instead of the molded seating units found elsewhere. Warden Nara waited in a conference room, her 4 arms arranged in what Alex had come to recognize as her official posture. Beside her stood a human woman in a crisp uniform with Earth government insignia. Alex felt a strange rush of emotion at seeing another human. The woman was middle-aged, with short, gray hair and the posture of someone used to command. She examined him with professional interest. Prisoner Morgan, the warden began. This is Inspector Paula Chen from Earth Diplomatic Corps. She will interview you as part of the council inspection. Guard left, closing the door behind him. Alex Morgan, Inspector Chen said, extending her hand in the human greeting that felt suddenly foreign to him after weeks among aliens who did not shake hands. How are you being treated? Her direct question in unaccented English momentarily startled him. Fine, he managed. There's adequate food. The work isn't difficult. Inspector Chen nodded, making notes on a small tablet. Are you being mistreated in any way? Threatened, harassed. Alex hesitated, thinking of the constant staring, the personal questions, the subtle competition among some prisoners for his attention. None of it quite qualified as harassment by prison standards. No, Mom, just a lot of curiosity. The inspector exchanged glances with the warden. You understand your situation is unique, she continued. Your case is being monitored at the highest levels. The success of this placement could open diplomatic doors. There it was again. The reminder that he was not just a prisoner but a test case, a diplomatic experiment. I understand, Alex said carefully. The inspector spent the next hour asking detailed questions about his daily routine, his interactions with other prisoners, his health. His answers were recorded, and he signed a digital statement confirming his treatment met the standards set by Earth Prisoner Rights Accords. Before leaving, Inspector Chen handed him a small package, personal items cleared by prison security. She explained, books from your apartment. Some photographs. Nothing that would create security concerns. Alex accepted the package, feeling a rush of gratitude for this small connection to home. You have become quite the topic of discussion, Morgan the warden said after the inspector left. Many species have never encountered humans. Some find your presence fascinating. Others concerning. Is that why I'm here? Alex asked. The real reason. A test case, Warden. Nara blinked her large yellow eyes slowly. The gesture he had learned indicated thoughtful consideration. The official reason is facility overcrowding, she said. But yes, you are what humans call a trial balloon. Your adjustment and treatment here will determine future policy. The council is divided on closer human integration. This experiment may influence their decisions. Alex absorbed this information. It confirmed what he had suspected. He was a political pawn. His behavior here could affect Earth relations with other species. How am I doing so far, he asked. The warden made a sound that might have been a laugh. Better than expected. The prisoners find you respectful if strange. Your work performance is acceptable. You follow rules. There have been no incidents after the meeting. Alex was escorted back to his cell rather than to work assignment. The small package from Inspector Chen contained 3 books, physical ones with paper pages, a luxury in digital times. There were photos of his apartment, his parents, his dog, a bag of coffee beans he could smell but not brew, a handwritten note from his mother saying she was well and not to worry. He sat on his sleeping platform holding these small treasures from Earth. They made home seem both closer and impossibly distant. A chime indicated midday meal. But Alex remained in his cell, looking through the photographs. His reverie was interrupted by his door sliding open. Kira stood there, her blue skin looking almost luminous under the corridor lights. The council representatives want to observe regular prisoner interactions, she explained. You are requested in the dining hall. Alex reluctantly put away his package and followed her. The dining hall had been rearranged with the tables in perfect rows. The food looked better than usual, and servers wore clean new uniforms. At one side of the room sat 3 figures. The human inspector, a tall, spindly alien with translucent skin similar to the judge who had sentenced him, and a third being that seemed to be made of shifting metallic elements with no fixed form warden. Nara gestured for Alex to sit at a table with Kiritalia and several other prisoners he recognized from various work groups. Act natural, she instructed before walking away. Acting natural under observation by Galactic Council members proved challenging. The conversation around the table was stilted with none of the usual banter. "So human," Zara said finally, breaking the awkward silence. "Tell us more about Earth animals like yourself." Her tail swished, indicating amusement. Alex realized she was deliberately trying to create a normal interaction for the observers. He described Earth wildlife, focusing on feline since Zara found them most interesting. The conversation gradually became more natural, with various prisoners asking questions and sharing details about wildlife on their homeworlds. After the meal, the council representatives approached their table. The metallic being shifted form, constantly parts of it flowing and reforming as it moved. The effect was hypnotic and slightly nauseating. "The human has integrated," well, the translucent alien observed. Its voice sounded like wind through leaves. No signs of distress. The metallic being made a series of tones that the translator rendered as "remarkable adaptation period. Exceeds projections. Consider accelerated." Program Inspector Chen nodded. "You see the benefits. The cultural exchange goes both ways." Alex realized they were discussing him as if he wasn't present. Another reminder of his status as an experiment rather than a person. The representatives moved. On continuing their inspection, he watched them circle the room, stopping occasionally to speak with other prisoners. "What was that about?" Talia asked, her black eyes fixed on Alex's politics. He replied. The afternoon passed with Alex returning to the textile division. The council inspection had disrupted normal routines, and an undercurrent of tension ran through the facility. Many prisoners seemed uncomfortable with the official scrutiny. During recreation period, Alex joined Nyx for weight training, finding physical exertion the best way to clear his mind. The Viridian seemed preoccupied today, her usual chatter replaced by thoughtful silence. "Something wrong?" Alex asked between sets. Nyx adjusted the gravity controls before responding. "The council presence changes things. Politics from outside affects us even here." "How so?" The Viridian glanced around before continuing. "The metallic one is Shifter. They oppose human expansion. Their faction wants to limit Earth involvement in galactic affairs. The transparent one is Ethereal. They favor bringing Earth into the council as full members. The prison becomes just another political arena." Alex had not considered how galactic politics might affect the prisoners. The facility had seemed isolated from such concerns. "What about the Karzians?" Talia mentioned. Alex asked. "They gather in the Eastern Recreation Area." Nyx nodded. "Those are the ones to watch. They believe humans are a threat to established species. They may see you as an opportunity to make a statement, a warning." Chime sounded, indicating the end of recreation period. Alex woke to unfamiliar silence. No morning chime. No sounds of prisoners moving through corridors. His isolation room remained quiet, the heavy door blocking all facility noise. He checked the small chronometer, finding he had slept later than usual. The stress of recent events had taken its toll. A panel on the wall displayed a message: council vote scheduled. Meeting with Warden at midday. Alex performed his morning routine with careful deliberation, each action measured and calm. On the surface, at least today would determine the future of his sentence and potentially influence human-alien relations for years to come. He needed to appear composed, confident, capable of integration. A service robot delivered breakfast, a selection of foods that resembled his usual choices from the dining hall. He ate slowly, considering what arguments he might present to the warden, how he could convince her that returning him to general population was the right decision. After breakfast, a textile terminal activated in the corner of his room. The screen displayed familiar patterns and instructions. Alex worked methodically, his fingers guiding virtual threads into complex designs. The activity calmed his mind, gave him purpose, but the isolation remained, strange, uncomfortable. When the midday chime sounded, his door slid open. A guard waited to escort him to the warden's office. This one was Viridian, but not one he recognized. The facility seemed unusually quiet as they walked through corridors. Normally, bustling with prisoner movement, the halls were nearly empty. They passed a recreation area where a group of Karsians exercised. Their movements stopped as Alex passed, their multifaceted eyes tracking him with undisguised hostility. The guard moved, closer, her hand resting on what Alex assumed was a weapon. The warden's office contained more people than expected. Warden Nara sat behind her desk, her forearms arranged formally. In front of her stood Inspector Chen in person, this time not via video. Link beside the inspector stood a tall ethereal, the same translucent being who had been part of the council inspection. The shifting metallic form of a shifter occupied the corner opposite. Politics. Alex thought, recognizing the significance of these representatives. The council vote had brought key players to the facility. Prisoner Morgan Warden. Nara began. The council meets now to determine integration policy. Your situation features prominently in discussions. The question before us is whether you should return to general population or remain in isolation for the remainder of your sentence. The ethereal spoke, its voice like wind through leaves. Human integration proceeds at unprecedented pace. The Morgan experiment demonstrates potential for coexistence. Your return to general population would signal confidence in this process. The shifter responded with musical tones that the translator converted to measured speech. Safety concerns remain legitimate. Karsian objections reflect historical patterns. Human expansion threatens established dynamics. Isolation protects all parties. Inspector Chen stepped forward. Mr. Morgan has adapted successfully to this facility, she argued. His interactions with various species have been positive, productive, and appropriate. The incident in hydroponics was orchestrated to force segregation. We should not allow such tactics to succeed. The representatives continued discussing Alex as if he wasn't present, outlining political implications, detailing faction concerns, analyzing potential outcomes. The warden listened without comment, her yellow eyes revealing nothing. Finally, she turned to Alex. What are your thoughts? Morgan. All eyes turned to him. The moment felt significant, his words potentially influencing decisions beyond this room, beyond this prison, beyond this planet. I came here to serve a sentence for trespassing. Alex began, keeping his voice steady. I did not expect to become a symbol for human-alien relations, but that has happened. My treatment here matters not just to me but to others. He paused, organizing his thoughts. Isolation is safer, he continued, but it defeats the purpose of my placement here. I have learned to work with different species to understand their customs, to adapt to their ways. They have learned about humans through me. This exchange of knowledge, this daily interaction is valuable. The shifter made a sound like metal scraping against stone. The Karsian objections remain valid, it said. Protection of vulnerable species requires caution. Alex faced the metallic being directly. The Karsians fear what they don't understand, he said. That is true of many species, including humans. The solution is not separation but contact-controlled, careful contact. That was the original purpose of my placement here. The ethereal moved closer, its translucent form shimmering. The human speaks wisdom. Integration requires proximity. Understanding grows through interaction. Inspector Chen nodded. Our position exactly. The experiment must continue under appropriate security measures. Alex turned to the warden. I've made connections here, he said, thinking of Kira, of Nyx, of Talia. I've learned their ways. They've learned mine. This is what integration looks like. Small steps, daily interactions, shared work, shared meals, shared recreation. The warden considered this, her expression unreadable. The risk remains significant. Certain factions actively opposed your presence before. This incident has strengthened their position. I understand the risk, Alex replied. But isolation sends the wrong message. It says humans and aliens cannot coexist. The representatives fell silent. The weight of the decision hung in the air. The warden rose from her desk. "This matter requires careful consideration," she announced. She gestured to the guard-returned prisoner Morgan to secure quarters. "The council will be notified of our decision," back in his isolation cell. Alex paced restlessly. The meeting had ended without resolution, without clear indication of what would happen next. He had made his case, argued for integration, for continuation of the experiment, but the political forces at work were complex, the interests diverse. Hours passed with no word, no updates, no decisions. The isolation that had initially felt protective now felt oppressive. Alex found himself missing the alien prisoners, their strange customs, their curious questions, even their sometimes uncomfortable interest in him. As evening approached, his door slid open unexpectedly. Warden Nara entered alone. "The council vote is complete," she announced. "The decision affects not just you, Morgan, but future human-alien interactions." Alex waited, his heart racing. "You will return to general population," the warden continued, "with enhanced security measures. Your work assignment rotation will continue. Your housing assignment changes. You will share quarters with Viridian prisoners for mutual protection." Alex felt a rush of relief. The experiment would continue. The segregation the Karsians had forced would end. "There is more," the warden said. "The council has approved expanded integration. 10 more humans will join this facility in the coming cycle. Your experience, your adaptation has opened this possibility. You have become what humans call a precedent. 10 more humans. The prospect of other Earth prisoners joining him here changed everything. He would no longer be unique, no longer the sole representative of his species. The experiment was expanding. There will be resistance. The warden warned the Karsians protest this decision. Some threaten transfer to other facilities. The coming days require caution, vigilance, careful movement. "When will I return to general population?" Alex asked. "Tomorrow," the warden replied. "The morning meal will be your reintroduction. The announcement comes tonight. All prisoners will know the council decision. All will understand the significance." After the warden left, Alex sat on his sleeping platform, processing this development. The isolation would end. He would return to his previous routine with some modifications. The experiment in human-alien integration would not only continue but expand. His success here had opened doors for others. The night passed slowly with Alex, alternating between anticipation and anxiety. What would the other prisoners think of the council decision? How would the Karsians react? Would his allies welcome his return or distance themselves from potential conflict? Morning arrived with the familiar chime. The door slid open, revealing not a service robot but Nyx, the Viridian weight trainer. Her muscular form filled the doorway. "Ready, human?" she asked. The others wait. Alex followed her through corridors that were more heavily guarded than before. Security personnel positioned at intersections watched their progress with professional attention. The facility seemed tense, alert, prepared for trouble. The dining hall fell silent as Alex entered. All eyes turned toward him. Conversations stopped. Movement ceased. A moment of collective assessment. Then Kira stood from her table, raising her voice. "Your seat remains open, Morgan." The simple statement broke the tension. The normal sounds of the dining hall resumed as Alex made his way to the familiar table. Kira, Talia, Vex, and several others waited, their expressions varying from relief to concern. The Karsians watched from their section. Talia said quietly, "They accept the council decision for now, but remain cautious." Alex selected his food, noting it was the same bland, nutritional items he had grown accustomed to. In isolation, his meals had been improved, tailored to human preferences. Now he returned to standard prisoner fare. The normality was strangely comforting. As he ate, Alex observed the dining hall. The various species had arranged themselves differently than before. The Karsians remained isolated, their table separated from others. Some prisoners who had previously shown interest in him now kept their distance. Others seemed more welcoming than before. The political Lines had been drawn,